In Lagos, food is history.
Food is memory. Food is power. Tomiwa, one of Nigeria's rising food bloggers, didn't just document recipes, she unearthed forgotten ones.
But when her grandfather, a respected food historian, died, she inherited more than grief. She inherited his old, leather-bound notebook.
One recipe stood out, a legendary jollof rice that, in the 1980s, had drawn crowds from across Lagos.
The note pointed to a place, Auntie Titi's kitchen.
The few who remembered it grew uneasy when she asked. One old man finally said that Buka should have stayed buried.
The food, it ate people's lives, but instead of scaring her off, it ignited her. This was content gold.
She didn't go alone. Tomiwa gathered a small crew of 6, her childhood friend Dio, the skeptic,
Kami, her editor,
2 videographers, Kunle and Sade, her bodyguard cousin Femi,
and Ruka, a spiritual consultant she brought just in case.
7 in total. They set out to find Auntie Titi's kitchen. The place was exactly where the notebook hinted, swallowed by weeds near the old bridge. Half the roof caved in.
Yet the back door was slightly open, too inviting.
Inside, it was a tomb of the 1980s chairs stacked, dust thick on tables.
But in the kitchen, a pot still sat on the rusty cooker, and from it, the smell.
Sweet,
spiced, irresistible.
That's when things started unraveling.
Sade swore she heard someone chewing in the dark corner.
Kunle's camera screen glitched, showing people sitting at the tables people who weren't there. Femi drew his knife,
but the blade snapped in half the moment he stepped near the pot.
Tomiwa found a diary on the shelf. Zena's diary, Auntie Titi's daughter. The early pages spoke of success, the later ones of a ritual, a gift that would make the food unforgettable. But with every meal served, the food grew hungrier.
It didn't feed the body, it consumed the soul.
The final page read, "They're here. They won't leave.
I am the meal." And then the back door slammed shut.
The aroma thickened until it was unbearable.
Then the voices began, a chorus of whispers, moans, and laughter. The chairs scraped across the floor as if pulled by unseen hands.
Femi tried to force the door open.
It wouldn't budge.
Something dragged him back, clawing at his leg. Before anyone could react, shadows swarmed him. His scream cut short, replaced by the sound of chewing.
The crew panicked.
Kunle swung his camera light around and froze.
The lens revealed dozens of transparent figures seated at the tables, hollow-eyed, grinning, mouths dripping red.
Dio shouted for everyone to run.
But the tables shifted on their own, blocking exits. One by one, the crew was picked off.
Sade was dragged into the shadows, her nails scratching the floor as her cries faded. Kuno tried to film everything, but his camera screen showed his own face watching before the shadows turned into him.
Kami discovered a locked cupboard in the kitchen. Inside was a stack of plates, each one with names scratched into them.
Hundreds of names.
The missing people.
The diners who had never left. Ruka, the spiritual consultant, screamed a prayer, trying to banish the spirits. For a moment, the whispers paused, but then
the pot glowed red, the rice boiled over with blood, and hands skeletal. Dozens of them burst from it, dragging Ruka in headfirst. Now only Tomiwa, Dio, and Kami were left.
They ran for the windows, smashing at the wooden frames. The shadow with glowing red eyes emerged, towering, skeletal hand reaching.
Kami shoved Tomiwa forward, buying her a few seconds. She was swallowed by the figures.
Dio and Tomiwa crashed through the window, glass slicing their arms.
But the shadow followed,
grabbing Dio by the leg, dragging him back. He locked eyes with Tomiwa and shouted, "Run!" before he disappeared into the darkness.
Tomiwa, bleeding, stumbled to her car.
She barely made it inside.
The whispers followed her into the night, echoing through the broken streets. When she looked back at the Buka, every window was lit with a red glow. Dozens of faces pressed against the glass, watching. She drove away, tears blurring her vision, wounded and broken. She was the only one left.
But she knew the truth now.
The legendary jollof rice wasn't a recipe. It was a curse, a hunger that would never die.
And somewhere, deep in Lagos, it was still waiting
for its next meal.
Like and subscribe. Thanks for your support.